Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're setting out on a really remarkable journey, one that takes us through the raw, unfiltered experiences of a truly legendary American voice, Woody Guthrie.
Yeah, we're talking about a life lived, on the rails, through the dust, and just immortalized in song.
We've gathered a whole stack of sources, really vivid first-person accounts, powerful observations that kind of paint this picture of profound hardship, but also incredible discovery and this unwavering commitment to truth. Our mission today is to really unpack how Woody's extraordinary journey didn't just shape his own life, but it profoundly influenced, well, an entire era of American music, activism, and maybe even the very idea of what it means to be a voice for the people.
It's not just a personal narrative, is it? It's really a vital window into the incredibly tumultuous landscape of the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl. Woody Guthrie's story, it really illustrates how these challenging times, while they fostered immense suffering, also somehow ignited this profound sense of community and solidarity.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it forged this unforgettable voice for the common person. We're going to explore the unique insights he gained and, how he channeled them into his art.
Okay, all right, let's dive right into where it all began. So our story opens in Okemah, Oklahoma, a place of, well, convergence and pretty sharp contrasts. What were the early influences that shaped this young man, Woody Guthrie?
Well, Okemah, it means town on a hill in Creek Indian, apparently.
Yeah.
And it was a fascinating microcosm of early 20th century America, really a melting pot. You had this dynamic mix of Indian, black, and white residents.
Hmm.
Woody's father, Charlie, was a real estate dealer, but also had this reputation as a champion of all the fist fighters. Quite a colorful
Okay.
character.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Definitely. And then his mother, Nora, she was described as a more serious person. She instilled empathy in her children, often through these old songs and ballads. It effectively created a family that Woody felt was divided up into two sides. One side for the rough and tumble, the other for the music and, well, introspection.
And this is where the story takes a real turn, isn't it? The arrival of King Oil, it just fundamentally transformed Okemah, sort of unleashed this chaotic energy. How did that boom impact the Guthrie family specifically?
Oh, massively.
Yeah.
The oil boom brought this flood of what he called oil flickers, oil fakers, oil stakers. And, with them came this surge of lawlessness and violence. He vividly describes the town's frenetic, almost desperate energy, but also the escalating danger that just terrified his mother. And then, tragically, a house fire consumed their home.
Oh.
It left behind just a cement foundation piled full of red-hot ashes. And this wasn't just a physical loss. It was a profound breaking point for Nora. It led to severe seizures, what they broadly termed epileptics back then, and this profound mental distress described as insanity.
Hmm.
He recalls her growing obsession with this lump of melted glass crystals, which was once a beautiful casserole dish, now just twisted.
Wow.
He quotes her saying, like, everything gets twisted, like my whole life is twisted. God, I want to die. Just devastating.
That raw honesty about his mother's decline and his own childhood coping mechanism, cleaning and playing just to forget the cyclone hitting their home, it's absolutely striking. This family breakdown, well, understandably, it pushed him onto the open road. So tell us about his formative boxcar experiences.
Yeah, his journey as a hobo began at a remarkably young age. He was riding boxcars packed with men of all colors, a real kaleidoscope of humanity,
Hmm.
all amidst, dust, sweat, hunger, and this just cacophony of cussing and sweating, raving and preaching. They sang songs like, "This train don't carry no gamblers," searching for a different kind of glory than maybe what society offered. He recounted these specific, really gritty incidents. The cement dust choking everyone, this ruptured old man, even a cruel hot-foot prank. He even apparently intervened to prevent a fight once, warning them that these big Burlington dicks, he meant the railway detectives, will jail the whole bunch of us.
The way he paints these fellow travelers, describing them as a gang of lost corpses or rougher than a cob, wilder than a woodchuck, it really brings home the stark reality, doesn't it? It's not romanticized at all.
Not one bit. And we connect this to the bigger picture, the Great Depression context. You see this profound tension. There's the internal chaos, right? Men fighting against men, color against color, kid against kid, race pushing against race. But then from atop the train, they're also facing the raw external elements, wind, rain, lightning. It kind of raises an important question for us, I think.
Which,
Well, what happens when individual hardship isn't just this solitary burden, but it meets a collective struggle for survival? It sort of blurs the lines between personal brokenness and societal brokenness.
that's a powerful point. So after his mother's death, marked by that really chilling $1.50 check from the insane asylum, Woody was truly adrift. How did he navigate that profound loss? How did he search for a new sense of meaning, of purpose?
Well, his early wanderings involved just a series of odd jobs, shining shoes, working in a hotel.
Hmm?
There was even a Prohibition-era stint selling root beer and something called Jamaica ginger, or plain Jake.
Plain Jake.
Yeah, apparently a pretty potent mixture of ginger and 99% alcohol. But this period, it wasn't just about survival. It was also this deep intellectual and, well, artistic quest. He just devoured books on law, medicine, preaching, really searching for a path.
Trying anything.
Exactly. He tried painting, trying to find some way of saying what I was thinking. He created copies of famous works and even 24 heads of Christ and the cops that killed him.
Hmm.
But this visual art, he realized, it didn't fully satisfy his kind of urgent need for direct, impactful expression.
And this is where that pivotal moment arrived. He discovers the guitar. How did music specifically become his chosen medium? A much more powerful channel than painting, it seems.
It was a total revelation. His uncle taught him to play, and he realized that unlike paintings, which, bother you for 40 years, they hang on walls, they need specific attention songs just soak in people's ears.
Right, they're immediate.
Immediate, portable, and they let him sing out what you think, right then and there. So he started making up new words to old tunes, traveling the Texas plains. And he quickly understood there was just plenty to make up songs about, especially with the growing devastation of the Dust Bowl all around him. His really profound goal became to create songs telling what I thought was wrong and how to make it right. Songs that said what everybody in the country was thinking. Music was his direct line to the collective consciousness.
He even had that fascinating sort of accidental turn as a mind reader, didn't he? It's a surprising detour, but it seems to reinforce this developing philosophy of his.
Yeah, it really seems to have cemented his belief in the power of truth. This was in Pampa, Texas. He was following his fortune-teller's stepmother, Betty Jane. And he found himself advising this worried oil refinery worker. Now, he intuitively gleaned details about the man's invention, not through psychic powers, obviously, but just through keen observation and empathy. And he offered this advice. The only way you can do this is to help out the poor working folks all you can. This experience just solidified his conviction in the healing power of honesty. He reflected, does the truth help to heal you when you hear it? If you tell the real truth, they get together and they get well. For Woody, telling the truth was an act of healing, really, both of the individual and the community.
So, drawn by this, perceived promise of California, Woody began that arduous hitchhiking journey, often battling a brutal blue northern storm. This leg of his journey really highlights the desperation of the era, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The trip was just marked by extreme cold, gnawing hunger, and these starkly contrasting human interactions. He was famously turned away from a minister's house, right?
Yeah.
By a maid who coldly claimed, there's a dozen new people come around here every day, just fearing a flood of pickers.
Wow, harsh.
Yeah. But then, in contrast, this lady opened the door of a little brown wooden house in a railroad worker's shack town. She was initially crabby and fussy, but ultimately her compassion won out. She gave him food, saying, here, eat this. It'll at least stick to your ribs. You look like an old, hungry hound dog.
Huh. A bit of kindness.
Exactly. And it perfectly illustrates this profound disparity between organized charity, which often failed, and genuine, spontaneous human compassion that sometimes just emerged in the most unexpected places.
So he finally arrives in California expecting, the Golden State, a land of plenty. But what did he actually find on the ground there?
Well, he describes California as this thick green garden of fruits and vegetables, which must have been a stark, almost cruel contrast to the dust-choked plains he'd just left.
Yeah, unimaginable difference.
But he immediately encountered fruit beat it signs, and fruit rotting on the ground all around me. He noted, with just disbelief, there's enough here to feed every hungry kid from Maine to Florida, but the pickers were actively kept out. This revealed profound irony, didn't it? And a deeply entrenched systemic injustice. Abundance coexisting with manufactured scarcity and hunger, all just to maintain control over labor.
And this injustice was just laid bare in those infamous migrant jungle camps. What were these makeshift communities actually like for the workers who gathered there?
Oh, they were desperate places, like the one he describes in Redding, California. Thousands of workers, he says, mostly kids and their families, gathered for construction work that was constantly delayed. Their camps were literally made from old car fenders, wired to trees, canvas sacks, or just cardboard shacks that offered zero protection and would simply dissolve in the first rain.
Just awful conditions.
Yeah.
Terrible. But amidst this squalor, something powerful happened. He heard two young girls singing It takes a worried man to sing a worried song. Their music, he said, was clear and honest sounding, like a beacon of solace and maybe a promise of resilience. We'll come through all of these in pretty good shape. This experience just deeply reinforced Woody's belief in the communal healing power of shared song, even in the absolute direst circumstances.
And his personal experience in the apricot orchards then perfectly illustrates the economic traps that were so meticulously laid for these migrant workers, ensuring they just remained in this cycle of dependency.
It's such a classic, brutal example. A forewoman explained this meticulous grading system for apricots. Plain, selects, extra select, and warned them against eating the valuable extra selects, because that would be deducted from their already meager pay.
Right, controlling every little thing.
But the real trap, the insidious part, was the company store. Prices for necessities, like Eagle milk, were drastically inflated. He says 2 bits a can, that's 25 cents compared to 18 cents elsewhere. And workers were strongly encouraged, basically pressured, to sign security notes for credit. This effectively started them 10 days behind the world in debt before they even picked their first piece of fruit.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. This system ensured they would barely make enough to keep you going while you work, but you won't make enough to be able to pay the 10 days bill you owe.
So this system wasn't just about low wages, it was a meticulously engineered cycle of dependency. It essentially redefined the American dream for these workers, turning that promise of opportunity into a reality of inescapable debt, creating a class designed to be perpetually marginal.
Precisely. It's a chilling insight into how economic structures can become tools of control, turning the very act of labor into a chain of indebtedness. And it's here, too, that his budding relationship with this woman, Ruth, emerges, marked by them singing the talking blues together and her poignant words. Tomorrow you'll be up and gone, I know that. But for now, just say you'll think about me.
Wow, that's touching.
It really encapsulates both the fleeting nature of human connection on the road, doesn't it? And that enduring, fragile hope for something better. Just a brief moment of warmth amidst the cold calculations of the system.
Woody Guthrie's journey then takes this truly unexpected turn, from the dusty fields and boxcars to the glittering high society world of New York City. An audition at the famed Rainbow Room in Rockefeller Center. That must have been an absolute culture shock.
Oh, an enormous leap into another world entirely. He describes the opulent setting, deep rugs, this absurd thought that shrimps are boiled in Standard Oil, the flowery curtain, a world just utterly removed from the dust and shacks he'd known. And he observed the other performers, noting their fake smiles, painted or molded on so it will always smile like a monkey through his bar so nobody will know their rents ain't paid up yet.
Oof, cynical, but probably true.
Right. And the management, after his audition, they dictated a French peasant garb, costume, and makeup, concerned his natural skin would look too pale and too dead. It was all about presentation, appearance, not authenticity.
And this is where the story really reveals that crucial insight, the clash between authentic expression and commercial expectations. The question isn't just about art versus commerce, is it? It's about whose truth actually gets a platform. So what was Woody's response to this demand for conformity?
Exactly. The core issue for him was integrity. He improvises this song about New York City, cleverly weaving in observations about the vast distance from the USA, meaning, the common people's reality, to the insulated world of the Rainbow Room. But the management, well, they were less concerned with his message and more with whether the song would be suited to the customers.
Of course.
Yeah. And this forced him to confront that fundamental question. At what point does an artist compromise their message, their very truth, for broader appeal and, commercial gain?
And rather than conforming, he makes this powerful, definitive statement. Tell us about his famous walkout.
He describes this moment of just internal rebellion, looking out the window at the real New York beyond the glittering facade. He realized, with probably a heavy heart, what the customer says is what we all have to say if he stayed there. So he made his choice. He left the audition singing "Every Good Man Gets a Little Hard Luck Sometime" and "Old John D, He Ain't No Friend of Mine" loudly through the opulent marble halls of Rockefeller Center.
Wow, what a scene.
Right. It wasn't just rejecting a job. It was this definitive rejection of what he called sentimental and dreamy trash. It was a recommitment to singing something with fight and guts and belly laughs and power and dynamite to it. Basically, a reclaiming of his artistic soul.
His subsequent conversation with his old friend, the actor Will Geer, that really solidifies this choice even further, doesn't it? It's a powerful scene described in the sources.
Absolutely. Will Geer, who was a seasoned friend, He cautioned him, you're ruining your chances in New York. He knew the opportunities Woody was turning away, but Woody Guthrie remained completely steadfast. He declared, I'd play for beans and cornbread and drink branch water for folks that likes it, folks that knows it and lives what I'm singing
It's
about.
just unwavering.
Totally. It powerfully symbolizes his dedication to using his music as this tool for social commentary and genuine connection, even if it meant consciously foregoing commercial success and comfort. It was a choice for integrity for the people above absolutely everything else.
And then, that final act of defiance and reflection, jumping from a moving barge. It seems to bring him full circle, sort of synthesizing his entire journey.
It's a beautifully symbolic moment, isn't it? As he plunges into the river water, he reflects on his past. He sees these distorted but somehow pretty images of Clara, his mama, the oil fields, the jungle camps, Ruth. This moment feels like a profound synthesis of his whole life's journey. Recognizing the deep interconnectedness of his personal history and the collective struggle he always championed. And he reaffirms his path, hearing those familiar echoing strains of "This train is bound for glory" from a passing freight train. Seeing the engine smoke not as pollution, but as a blanket for the men through the storm.
Such a powerful metaphor, finding warmth and solidarity in the shared journey itself.
Could be.
Well, we've journeyed through a truly remarkable life, haven't we? From that turbulent Oklahoma childhood marked by loss, through the harsh realities of the Dust Bowl and the migrant camps, to the dazzling yet superficial streets of New York, all through the eyes and extraordinary voice of Woody Guthrie. What an incredible deep dive this has been.
What's truly fascinating here, I think, is how profound adversity, combined with this deep, almost innate empathy he had for the screwed-up people on the road, completely transformed him. He became not just a musician, but this powerful, authentic voice for the common person, using a song to literally say what everybody in the country was thinking, illuminating injustices while somehow simultaneously offering hope and resilience. His story really underscored the idea that true, lasting art often emerges from authentic struggle, doesn't it?
It really does. So what does this all mean for you, our listener, listening in today?
Well, Woody Guthrie's life kind of asks us to consider, in a world just full of carefully constructed narratives and, frankly, information overload, what are your most authentic experiences? And how might you find a voice, whether that's through art or action or maybe simply sharing your truth, that truly resonates with the shared human experience? His journey reminds us that authenticity has this powerful, enduring echo.
And maybe a final thought for you to mull over as you go about your day. Woody Guthrie's path was always marked by this search for glory, often found in the grimmest of circumstances, as we heard. Does that glory truly lie at some distant, idealized destination, or as his life really seems to suggest, is it fundamentally found in the journey itself, in the stories we live and the truths we manage to tell along the way?